San Diego, San Diego. Welcome to That's Good Broncos. I'm Brendan Perna, and the Denver Broncos just completed one of the strangest games of the season, getting a win, and what I'm saying is the best victory of the year. Before I show this next clip, I want to warn all parents this may not be appropriate for children. I know this is normally a family show, but not today. I have definitive evidence that Philip Rivers does in fact have female genitalia. I'm sorry, I'm getting new information. That is not what I said it was. It is in fact Philip Rivers' mouth. But if you place that within a flower, you have to admit it looks like a loose, flappy creation cave. The Denver Broncos defeated the San Diego Chargers on Sunday 22-10 and clinched the AFC West for the fourth year in a row. Peyton Manning had the flu. Many observers didn't think it was a big deal, but I have confirmation it was the worst case of the flu in NFL history. And Manning's legacy is now officially larger than life. The first half of the game was great if you love defensive football, and I love defensive football. I have to hand it to the Chargers defense for playing well in the red zone, but I also have to question Denver's play calling on this early drive. C.J. Anderson burst through the Chargers defense, taking the ball down to the 1-yard line. Anderson was running very well at this point, but with 2nd and 1 and 3rd and 1, the Broncos passed and refused to feed C.J. the rock, and Denver had to settle for a Connor Barth field goal. Julius Thomas returned to the field for the first time since the Week 11 game against St. Louis, and although Thomas played sparingly throughout the game, he had one impressive catch down the right sideline over Eric Weddle, who looks like one of the dwarves from The Hobbit. With a perfectly placed ball by the deathly ill Peyton Manning, the Broncos offense stalled again, and Connor Barth knocked out 3 points, and the Broncos went up 6-0. San Diego said, "Hey, you know what? We can kick some fucking field goals too, you Denver donkey bitches." It was a very aggressive thing for them to say, but Nick Novak loaded up his leg and blasted this ball. That got bit by the wolf. The wolf bite causes the kick to land way short of the goalposts. Demaryius Thomas matched Julius Thomas's great catch down the sideline with one of his own for 29 yards. He-Manuel Sanders, whose shirts are still available at fanbuild.com for all of your Christmas gift needs, slashed his way to the 1-yard line, just like we're slashing prices with the promo code ThatsGoodBroncos. This is where shit got real crazy. The Chargers make 2 run stops on the goal line, and on 3rd and 1, Manning hands it off to C.J. Anderson, who almost gave me a heart attack by scrambling and reversing direction, but eventually squirted his way into the end zone, and I was yelling, "Touchdown, Denver Broncos!" until after the commercial break, and I learned that the call had been reversed because Anderson's knee was down before the ball crossed the goal line. Enter Connor Barth again, and the Broncos go up 9-0. But if you look close on that play, Connor Barth did eat shit and fall on his ass while making the field goal attempt. But this is where the plot thickens. Manning threw a block for Anderson, where he lit up Donald Butler. Well, maybe Butler got hurt somewhere else, but let's just all agree Manning took out Butler. And he took out himself with this devastating hit. It was a lot like Steve Atwater's hit in the '98 Super Bowl. Manning ran to the locker room with about 2 minutes left in the half to get more IV fluid, puke his brains out, have his thigh examined, and also send sick children autographed pictures and merch, because he's got a heart of gold. Speaking of merch, you can still get your He-Manuel Sanders shirts for 10% off with this limited time offer and promo code ThatsGoodBroncos at fanbuild.com. Yeah, I'm selling out hard, fuckers. After the Barth field goal, the Broncos held the Chargers to another 3-and-out. And if you want to see what $42.5 million looks like, Chris Harris will show you right here on Keenan Allen. Manning was still out of the game, so Brock Osweiler took over the offensive reins. There was about 1 minute and 30 seconds left in the half. The fan in me, though, agreed with Gase here and wanted him to let Brock Osweiler fire the ball down the field, but the coach in me said we should have just run out the clock. Not that I've ever had a coach inside of me before, but if I did, I think I would have wanted it to be Mike Holmgren. I just think he would have been the most gentle and comforting afterwards. These play calls proved to be stupid, as the Broncos went 3 and out after 3 poorly executed plays. To make things worse, the Denver Special Teams unit allowed Eddie Royal to return the punt 58 yards, giving the Chargers 3 points. During halftime, there was significant speculation that Peyton Manning would not finish the game with a thigh injury, and what doctors are officially calling a mix of the bird flu, West Nile virus, and food poisoning. But in true Michael Jordan fashion, Manning returned to the game to kick some ass. He was so ill that he must have made Nick Novak sick, and that's probably why he kicked this ball like Brandon McManus, perfectly hitting the goalpost and missing this easy field goal. The Broncos offense took advantage of the missed field goal, with C.J. Anderson breaking and evading tackles on this glorious run to move the chains. Peyton Manning, sick of field goals and just plain sick, connected with Demaryius Thomas, who outmans the Chargers D-bags for a 28-yard touchdown, giving DT 100 yards on the day, tying him with Rod Smith for 8 100 receiving yards in a season. That's a franchise record you just tied, Demaryius. And after tying the record, Ed McCaffrey's lesbian sister informed Thomas that he hopes Demaryius breaks Rod Smith's record because Smith was never accepting of Ed McCaffrey's lesbian sister's lifestyle. Shame on you, Smith. Aren't you supposed to stick with the home team? The Chargers scored a touchdown after the Denver defense handed it to them on a silver platter with like 10 defensive penalties. The Denver lead was cut down 16-10. On the next drive, He-Manuel Sanders gains 33 yards on a single play, even though he was He-Manuel slammed by the Chargers defender, whose name I will not say. That was the third deep ball I saw Manning complete on the game. He could barely lift his arm, and he fired rockets all day long. I'm also finally willing to call Connor Barth Vader, as he kicked a 49-yard game-saving field goal right after that Sanders catch. The Broncos were up 19-10, and the game was on the line, and San Diego needed their fearless leader to not throw an interception. But Philip Rivers only throws picks when the game is on the line. I'm sorry, John Knobb, but Aqib Talib diagnosed this play perfectly and cut off the route to make the pick. Barth Vader entered the game again, and again, he kicks a field goal, giving him 5 on the afternoon and officially putting the game out of reach 22-10. That was it. That was the end of the game, right? No, Philip Rivers wanted to give us a delicious cherry on top of this already defensively delicious San Diego Sunday and threw one last pick to Raheem the Dream Moore. Nobody in San Diego took the loss harder than Chargers defensive coordinator John Pagano. No! I want a pass key. As Bronco fans, you have to be excited how the defense is playing, and how the Broncos are cranking out wins by physically beating opposing teams. The Buffalo Bills beat the Packers Sunday, so don't think for a second that win against Buffalo wasn't impressive for the Broncos. The Broncos are playing big dick football, and to prove my point, here's the big dick hit of the game, which is going to Steven Johnson for showing his Johnson to San Diego's kick returner right here.
And a run back here by Davis. What a hit.
There was one man in the crowd who said, "I like teal shirts and I don't care who knows it." This was great. Philip Rivers was trying to tell the refs that this play was an incomplete pass and not a fumble, but I don't know why he was doing it with these limp-wristed gestures. I threw it! The refs almost flagged the limp-wristed Rivers for trying to impersonate Travis Kelce. I told you that clip was going to get some mileage. Jim Nantz asked Phil Simms if he was going to come out of the closet during the game's broadcast. When discussing coming out, this is what they said.
He's coming out. Maybe last night I would have done it, but you know, I'm still
Maybe last night I would have done it.
The best part of the game for me was watching this ref tell Philip Rivers to fuck off.
No, get back to the line with your pussy mouth.
Also, big shout out to my big belly boy Marvin Austin for returning this kick further than Andre Caldwell did all season. Burn Caldwell. Again, make sure you go watch the Big Dick episode now. Maybe a fan's gonna get the award this week. Who knows? You gotta watch. Thanks for watching That's Good Broncos. Make sure to subscribe here at That's Good Sports and get your He-Manuel Sanders shirts at fanbuild.com. They make the perfect gift for people with terrible taste in clothing, which is everyone who is not rich.